go ahead and get started.
Sounds
Take
good.
a bit of a look.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming.
Yep. And since it has been a little while since we've done our last session, just remind me if I'm ever going over things we've gone over in the past, because I might not be able to fully remember every
That's all right.
thing that we've gone over. So it looks like we've done Sigma and Zarya in the past, right? Okay, so we went over like Zarya bubbles. We went over some. Okay, it looks like we went over like watching kill feed.
Yeah, I've been working on just using tab a lot more. Like I've been really focusing on that, and that's helped me out like quite a few times where I haven't been paying attention. I hit tab and realize two people are dead or whatever. So yeah, so that's helped out heaps.
Oh, I would imagine so.
Oh, I get deleted.
Yep. Make sure that when our bubble's done, that even if we're looking for somebody else's bubble, we have to make sure that we're standing behind cover. So there, we just don't kind of respect good positioning. We don't respect cover usage, and then that results in us dying. So here we just kind of walk out into the open, and then we end up getting hooked.
My will is unbroken. Not ready. Bring it.
What the? Was that even? That even looked like we were aiming at the May. Or sorry, the Ana. All right. Have you adjusted your bubble sensitivity at all?
I have, but I don't think I've actually adjusted it on this one. I have it at about 75%. Yeah.
Yeah. So you probably need to adjust on this account, because this is definitely something that would help with. As here we are very obviously aiming more towards May when we click it, right? But this is going to Ana because she's closer. So lowering that sensitivity is going to mean that you can be a little bit more specific with who you're targeting. So that ends up hitting Ana only because she's closer. Okay, and then let's see this one. This one looks like it got stolen too. So first off, we gotta identify that this person's close to us and they're about to walk in front of us. So awareness means that we don't accidentally hit May. And then the other thing, again, right, bubble usage would probably help with this one as well, is that ball is closer to our crosshair than May is. So this is a second time within the first minute that we would benefit from just lowering our sensitivity. But then on top of that, just make sure you're paying attention to the fact, like, to where your teammates are at when you're looking for bubble. Because what we could do here is just easily walk to the left here, and then now ball is much clearer, right? And we're gonna be able to much easier land that bubble. So we want to make sure we're paying attention to our team that's around us, because bubbles have been stolen twice so far.
Get in there. Get into position.
Okay, good energy so far. Oh, good target focus there. Like the target priority. Alright, so we did really good that fight. So we came into the fight with a bunch of bubbles, or with a bunch of energy, and we got a ton of value. We went for the supports, so we killed them easily. I want to see, what did we do with our second round of bubbles here? So we came in, this bubble... Alright, so that bubble looked like it was just thrown out there. So I think that one maybe could have done a little bit better with. But besides that, bubbles are fine. So we did actually really good at that fight. And good bubbles. Very nice. Were bubbles a big issue at last time? Because they're definitely... I would assume that they're much improved on currently.
Oh, compared to when I first started, they're much better, yeah.
Because we are very high energy right now. This is really good. Make sure that we're looking to not just sit on cart, but we're looking to push forward and take some space. We can go to high ground here. We could push forward a little bit to look for bubbles to keep our energy at 100% rather than letting it go down to 80. Right, like that is good. Now that one, keep in mind, once we get up to this range where we're at 100 energy, every single bubble from now on is a tanking bubble, right? Because we don't need any bubbles for energy. So this one on the soldier probably isn't, like this one right here is not necessary in any sense, because no one right here is in danger of dying. We didn't even see his health bar before, like when we were looking at him. So Probably not going to be necessary. He's behind cover, not in danger.
Escorting the payload.
Right now, we probably, instead of sitting on cart, I don't know if we've discussed this at all before, but whenever you're on a payload map, right, you only have 2 fights. You have to win 2 fights in a row, and that's not going to change whether or not you have 5 people on cart or 1 person on cart. You're still going to have to win 2 fights, right? So here, instead of us sitting on cart, we'd probably be much better off taking some space, whether it be going high ground, because on high ground we can take out turret, we can contest the soldier and the Torbjorn and push them off of high ground. We have the potential to shoot them from behind. We can come up here and take, secondary high ground. We can go left side and come in this room and shoot at the Torb and the Zenyatta from here. We just want to do something that's not sitting on cart, because sitting on cart gets a 0 value, and we're just kind of poking and with right clicks, and then that's it, right?
Yep.
We want to be pushing within a range to do something, because Zarya, we're a very close range character, so you want to make sure that you're looking to play within that close range. Yep, just a lot of chilling at a super long range right now. We're just playing outside of our range on Zarya. That's the big thing this fight, is that we're a close range character. We're playing like we're sniper.
Yep.
Okay, we got slapped. Probably gonna look. This is pretty much a lost fight. Probably look to just, or not lost particularly, but we want to wait for our other player to get back, our hog. But is a 5v6 right now. You can still look to, at the very least, us peeking left side, right? This puts us with good cover. We can hit soldier from here, hog from here, Torb from here, right? We just want to be doing something where we can actually shoot at something, because we have 100 energy now, and it looks like our bubbles are actually very consistent, and we understand how to land good bubbles, and we're getting high energy, and our bubbles are getting pretty good tanking. But now the issue is that we have high energy, but we're not utilizing any of it because we're never shooting at anything. We're always just right-clicking from too far away.
Surrender to my will. Barriers on you. Go.
Sometimes I do that, with the Moira there, just so she can't get stunned out of her ult, sort of thing.
Yeah. In that situation, maybe the only thing was that most of them are dead, so you just have to kind of pay attention to who is looking at and shooting at Moira, because if that's nobody, then it's not gonna really do anything to bubble her. At the very least, there, when Hog gets hooked, even if we know that he's gonna die, actually, I don't know if you get energy if somebody falls off the map and dies. I don't know if that gives you energy or not. I can't remember. But at the very least, I think if you see Hog lands a hook, he's probably gonna shoot before he drops him off here. So let's see. Does he shoot? No, he doesn't actually. So he wouldn't have actually taken damage. But that's a.
Normally they would, though. Yeah.
Sometimes they will shoot, so that's a good idea to even bubble that in that situation. And I think you might get energy if he falls off the map there. I'm not sure though.
I've sighted the enemy.
Okay, good bubbles. Make sure you're stepping inside of his shield. If he's hiding behind the shield, don't sit there shooting at the shield. Step inside of it, right? So here we just kind of, he backs up inside of his shield, and we can't see him, right? And we just kind of sit here and break the shield rather than just walking forwards inside of it and then shooting at him, which probably would be a more effective way to kill him here. All right. Okay, probably look to use our ultimate there. We are holding on to it a little bit too long, right? This is an even fight, 4v4. Make sure you're not holding on to it. The faster we use our ultimate, the more value we get. So we should be looking to use it pretty much as soon as we get it in this fight. And then the other thing we can do here is once we see that he primals, this is a perfect situation to basically just completely counter his primal, because we can grab his primal and maybe get a couple other people in there too, and then that just basically counters his ult while also shredding him. Right?
Yeah.
So rather than just letting him pummel us out there, probably would just be good if we added in a grab. Now our team does win the fight without us, it looks like.
Zarya activated. That's more like it.
Yeah, there's a time for bubbles and there's a time for shooting. Make sure that you're, when you're looking for bubbles, that you're not you're not stopping your shooting at all, right? And also in the situation, bubbles aren't really too necessary because we're again 87 energy, very high energy, and we don't need these bubbles for tanking really. And we just kind of take time away from shooting at the Moira to land the bubbles,
Maximum charge.
right? So we just want to make sure we're looking to keep shooting.
Zarya activated. That's more
Make sure that you're not reloading if you still have ammo and you can actively be shooting something. That's a bad habit to be into. So if you are able to see something and able to shoot something or in the middle of shooting something, you shouldn't be reloading while you still have ammo available because you want to be able to keep shooting at them because Moira here is 1 HP, right? We could very easily shoot at her. We can melee her here, right? We don't want to be reloading when we still have ammo left. The only time we're reloading is if we run out of ammo or if we have a lull in the fight where we don't have anything to shoot at.
Okay.
maximum charge.
Yep. There we just kind of, we're still holding on to our ults.
Yeah, I'm quite bad for that.
Okay, so apparently you do not get energy from someone bubbling someone who's falling off the map. Now we can confirm that. Alright, so far, initial assessment of strengths and weaknesses. Bubbles, very, very, very good so far. Only thing is that sometimes we're focusing a little too much on bubbles, and you want to make sure that when you're going for your bubbles that you're not stopping everything else, that you're continuing to do damage, so you're damaging the whole time, and then you're adding your bubbles in between that. The other thing you want to do is make sure that when you're at a high energy, like 80% on or 80 energy, right, or above, that you're not using bubbles just for energy. That bubbles from then on are mainly looking for tanking because we don't really need the damage at that point, and we need it for the tanking capabilities. So doing good on that end, really good, I think in comparison to the last times as well. Ultimate usage does need work, and just making sure we're using it first off at all, and then second off using it early in fights. Thirdly, this is probably going to be like one of the most important ones, is just we're not really damaging as much as we should be, and that ties into two things, mainly play style and positioning. I think your mechanics are fine. It's not like we're missing any shots when we're on top of people, but what is not allowing us to do damage is the fact that first off with our positioning is that we're playing way too far away, right? We're not playing close enough to people, and then with our play style, we're just not really actively looking for damage when we could be looking for damage, right? If you compare first point to right now, on first point we got on the point and we pretty much just ran straight for the back line and we actively got on the supports, and then that's how we got a ton of value. We actually I think we got like the Ashe, and then we got like the Ana or something like that. We got both the squishy targets in the back line. It was good target priority. Here it just doesn't look like we're shooting enough, right? Add enough things all the time. So we just want to make sure that we're prioritizing damage.
Yep.
Barrier is on you. Go.
You can look this go, just to keep your energy up here, because we are just looking to the fight's done. We're waiting for two people to come back, and we're just trying to maintain energy. We can look to step into those Symmetra bubbles, right? Get some easy energy going.
Give me your best shot.
That one probably wasn't the best, right? Because we were kind of behind, running away behind cover already. Right, so we're coming to this fight. Very, very easy combo we can go for here. We only need to win, to cap this point, we need to win one fight. Very, very easy combo to go for here is to use a Grav Mail. And we can do that, run to cart to use that, and then that also will, like, on top of it being a very devastating combo, it'll also mean that we can kind of zone them off points with the Mail in particular. So probably the best thing we could look to do here is run so let's see, our comp. Yeah, probably the best thing we can do here is like run on the inside here and try to take the fight to point, because you don't really want to go from bridge. As if we're trying to grab Mail on point, that we don't want to have to run through open area. Look to soak up the sim orbs. It's really, really easy. energy there.
Get in there.
Surrender to my will.
Alright. Should be looking to use Grav right about now. Uh-oh. When we're using Grav, just make sure that we're looking at the feet in between people, right?
Yep.
That way we're hitting as many people as we can. Here we just kind of look straight past them, right? We kind of launch it straight forwards, right? So, like, let's look. So we have our crosshair. It looks like maybe we're not understanding where it's going to go or something like that, but we keep on. It's going pretty much where you're aiming it here, right? Look at where we aim it. We aim it. I mean, we haven't had too much of a mechanical problem. Like we kind of aim it, right here. Look at where we have a crosshair when we throw it, and then that's where it goes, right? So we want to make sure that if we're throwing our ult, that we're tossing it, where our crosshair is looking, and we want to look at their feet. So preferably that would be like right here, right? Just look straight down, right? And then that hits them. So there we just toss it way too far. This would guarantee 2 kills and just make it super easy.
Get in there.
Surrender to my will.
Let's see,
Огонь по готовности.
when things, I don't know if we talked about this before, but when things are 1 HP, we can right click to finish them off. That's a big burst bit of damage. Do we talk about why would you want to do that?
A little bit, I think.
A little bit.
Not heaps, yeah.
Basically, the reason why is that you can right click and that does a bunch of burst damage, right? Right click is a big clump of damage together, and when you get their last bit of HP to burst down, that kills them faster. And why that's important is because when you kill something faster, it secures the kill. When you don't kill something fast, or the slower you kill something, the more time they have to get away, the more time they have to get healed, the more time they have to use tanking abilities, to use movement abilities, right? So killing something faster is always better. That's why, hitting headshots is better. That's why doing more damage is better, because we can kill things fast. So that's why we want to look to when something's 1 HP, we want to right-click them, and then if we're close enough, we want to add in a melee as well.
Okay.
Okay, here we kind of run really far out into the open, and we don't really respect our health, so make sure you're paying attention to your health, because we should have maybe backed up faster here. So here we run really far forwards, right? We could probably do the same amount of damage from sitting back in your cart here, right? Because we could still see Ana, we could still see Symmetra, right? We could damage Ana from here. We can push forward maybe a little bit, but we don't want to run much farther than this, right? Because we could still hit Ana from here without moving forward anymore. But look, what we do is we run even further forwards, right? Now, even further onto the open, right? Now we're super, super far forwards. And then we're not really near any cover, right? We're out in the open. I would imagine that across we've done multiple sessions with each other. I would imagine we talked about positioning before, that good positioning is the usage of cover, bad positioning is the absence of cover. And then this is just, an absence of cover. And then we back up to where we're behind cover, right? And we're 1 HP, and this is actually pretty good. We back up to safety, but then we just run back forwards onto the open.
Yeah.
So that's a situation where we can look at that death and go, okay, well, what do we do wrong, right? A lot, like 75% of our deaths we can look at and go, what could we have done better? Could we have positioned better? Could we have used our abilities better? Did I use my abilities too early, too late, right? In this situation, we can look back at this and go, okay, well, that was because of the fact that we were out of position. And then you do my job for me, and you can coach yourself. You can self-learn. This is exactly how I got better at the game, is while I was in the middle of playing, I would go, snap, that was a mistake. What could I have done instead, right? It's just the 3-step process to improvement. What was the mistake? What is the solution to the mistake? Or what could you have done better? And then how can I apply that, right? So while you're in game, you can look to do that same thing. Especially deaths is one of the easiest ways to do that.
Yep.
Right. Alright, good bubbles. Okay, good bubbles again. Right now we're just looking for some damage. Probably
I think even my energy up's got a bit better. I think I've spent a bit more time.
Do you say
higher
that?
energy.
Do you say that one more time?
I think like my energy's getting
Yeah.
my energy up's getting
Yep.
a bit better. Yeah.
And you also, I like that as well, that you're bubbling in between fights as well. That you're maintaining your energy, so that is very good as well. Again, I apologize because I don't know if that was a problem before, but I would imagine that you were not consistently at 95 energy before, because here it looks like our average energy is, I would imagine, at least 60 plus. So this is looking you're very, very good on the energy end, on the bubble end. Bubbles are looking great, right? Very nice so far. The next big step, though, past bubble usage, is actually doing damage with the energy that you now have.
Sure.
Yeah, we got a pick. Waiting for our Reinhardt to get here. I like the 360. We're paying attention to what's happening around us. Okay, get aggressive with your Reinhardt when he's making space for you. Okay, we're just chilling here. No reason to chill. We have bubble for him. We almost have our ult. We are 100 energy. We have 2 picks. Play aggressive here. We're just kind of chilling too long when we're also 3 seconds away from our own bubble. And we're still just kind of sitting in here, right? Where we should be running into the Symmetra. And now we can look to back up. This is, when she gets nanoed, then you go, right? But before that point, we're just kind of sitting here, letting her shoot at us for free when we have a ton of advantages and we should be looking to push. First off, we get 2 picks. Second off, we have bubbles. Third off, we have energy. Fourth off, we have the our ultimate in a second here. Fifth off, none of their tanks are looking. The only person who is looking at us is the Symmetra, right? We have one single person looking at us and Reinhardt, right? 5 individual different reasons why we should be looking to just run straight at the Symmetra, right?
Sure.
And now we look to play passive. This is good. That's fine. Just run away. Oh, you're gonna shredded. Then in that situation we decided not to back up, right? So we were playing passive, and then we just didn't play passive enough, right? So our aggression was all wacky here. So once Symmetra gets nanoed here, this is where we go, oh snap, and we run away. Just go all the way around, meet back up with your team over here. No reason to be on our own here. Other thing is that it doesn't seem like us and Reinhardt are paying too much attention to what our team's up to. So I think it's fine if we're on our own over here as long as we push. Because right now we're isolated from our team. If we don't push, then we're going to stay isolated. If we push, then we can meet up with our team and they can push too, and we can come at them from 2 different angles. Here we just don't really back up at all. We just kind of hesitate. We're kind of, instead of going back, we're kind of going like back, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back, forward. Like it's like 2 steps back, 1 step forward type of deal, and we don't want to be doing that. So that hesitation ends up killing us. Let's get back to the fight.
A temporary setback.
10 seconds remaining.
Get in there. Огонь по готовности.
Okay.
Round 1.
Did we have and then we also had grab last fight, so potentially you could have looked to try to grab the Symmetra. Especially if you see that we're coming up on the last fight territory. Right, if we're... Let's see, when did we use it? When she got nanoed? Okay, so if we take a look at top here, 35 seconds left, right? We have grab. If we grab Symmetra, that makes her an easier kill and also saves your life, right? And us just grabbing here just means that we stay alive because we can stop her from chasing us. If we see there's 34 seconds left, this means that there's 1 fight left. If we die now, we're not going to have a full regroup because it takes 20 seconds to respawn and get back to the point, right? It takes 10 seconds to respawn, 10 seconds to walk back to point. That means that if we die now, we only have 15 seconds left and we're going to be 5 seconds late. So this is last full fight. We can stagger in and we can look to stall point, but this is the last full fight, and therefore we should be looking to grab as soon as we get it here. Just like toss that thing and run, right? Other than that, and then you can see that in effect, right? 10 seconds, okay, and then we start walking, and there's 16 seconds left, and then in that time, we're gonna be, by the time we get there, we're not gonna have time to kind of walk back.
Yeah.
Let's see,
10 seconds.
we're walking. All right, we don't even get there. We get like 3/4 there in 16 seconds.
Together.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Физкульт, привет.
1. Attackers incoming. Defend.
All right, interesting. 2 bastions.
We strike as one.
Oh yeah, this was.
Look to just step into that for easy energy. Yep.
Go, don't be shy. Hit me.
Are we looking to like Zarya one trick? Because I think you did Sigma as well at some point.
Yeah, I used to play a little Sigma. I was been playing Zarya. I sort of got to the point where like I kind of wanted to focus on one character. Like I used to play a lot of different characters, and I just wanted to focus on one to try and to get sort of like higher up, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And then start applying it to like other characters, so
Yeah.
I'm a bit more flexible and stuff.
Yeah, which is understandable. One tricking is a pretty good way to get learn your character and get better at them. In this situation, Sigma might be a better pick for the comp, but if you want to play your Zarya, that's fine too. It just won't really mix too well with the composition here, so we just have to be careful.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a
and
little bit complicated.
that's why I sort of want to like sort of. So in situations like this, I can feel comfortable switching to Sigma and stuff like that and still have the same... It's more about, I don't feel like I have as much impact if I play other characters, obviously, because I'm not...
Yeah.
I haven't put as much time in sort of thing.
Alright, so in this situation, watch your bubble here, because I'm pretty sure that we use it before we peek past the shield. So here we see the shield. We bubble now when we're behind the shield, and then by the time we get in front of the shield, bubble lasts for like half a second. Make sure that you're walking in front of your shield and then bubbling. Or if you're bubbling first, you need to be like, half a second before you're walking around. You can't be bubbling a full second before you walk forwards, right? Because then you don't get any energy out of it. Same thing here. This is why Orisa Zarya isn't that great anyways, is because Orisa never really has a reason to walk past her shield, right? Instead, here, look to rotate in and out when the Orisa bubble or the Orisa shield is dead. So we want to look to save our projected, especially till when the shield is down, and then that way we rotate in and out the abilities, and then we ourselves can run past the shield, right? But if Orisa's not going to want to go past the shield, then just wait until the shield goes down, and then we can bubble pretty easily, right? So we want to rotate in and out those abilities. So because we could have bubbled right here, and this would have been perfect, right? So we just have to understand kind of the character that we're playing with here, in the fact that Orisa's not a great like kind of combo with you, and you have to play a little bit differently with her.
Sure.
Okay. Decent bubbles, but it took us a bit to get started there. Took a little bit, kind of weren't paying attention to the fight there. All right, we see that we don't have an Orisa, and they're just running in here on the front line, and then we kind of tunnel vision on the Moira. And Moira does this. Feel free to just run straight at her here, right? Who on their team's gonna contest you if you run straight at Moira? In this situation, she just used Fade. What is she gonna do, right? Instead, we kind of like go and dance around the right side here, and we're looking for her. Instead, what we can do is just like waltz straight in her direction and melt her because we're at 80 energy, right? We can just absolutely shred her. And instead, we kind of do this dance around the back, and then we end up letting our whole team die. Okay. Probably say the biggest thing in that fight was just that we had a very slow start with her bubbles, and then that meant that when you have a slow start with your bubbles, that means that our team suffers because we can't use them as much for tanking.
Yeah.
Do we talk about the tech of shooting at the ground and jumping? For movement speed?
Yeah. I just have been. I do it sometimes. I just get. I don't do it every single time. I'm going to work on that a bit.
I probably recommend it every single time you're walking out of spawn. Because you can do that while you're walking out of spawn and just recharge the health with your shields before you get there. So like right about here or maybe even a little bit further forwards, you can just stop doing it, let the health recharge while you're walking forwards, and then you'll have all your health back by the time you get there. And that ups your movement speed, so you'll be getting back to the fights faster.
Yep.
So just make sure you're looking to do that pretty much every time you're coming back from spawn. Okay, I like that we're peeking for energy there. Just look to get out. Yep, I like it. That's good. Probably don't push back forwards here. This
Bit messy.
make sure that with your right clicks, that you're aiming at their feet, because even if we miss their bodies, we still get splash damage. So it's good to aim at feet so it doesn't go soaring past them. And then if we aim at feet as well, that can splash them up in the air, and that'll make your shot easier to follow up on.
Sure.
So if you hit the ground, it boops them up, and then that makes them easy to track, because when someone goes up, they have to come down, so it becomes they can't really move too well. Just helix himself. Okay, good bubbles.
This will restore you. Help me.
Barrier activated.
Give me your best shot. Just a scratch. Get into position.
Tired.
You're covered. Maximum charge.
Uh-oh. Alright, first off, pay attention to where our team's at. Right?
Yeah.
Us, team,
Yeah.
right?
A little way away.
Second off, we willingly drop there when we should look to keep the superior positioning, which is up here. We can kind of beam them down super easily from up here and run away super easily from up here, and it's super survivable because high ground's usually very good. We have good visibility from here. They can't get up to us from here, and we can get away. We use this as cover, as they see us, they can't see us. They see us, they can't see us. Okay?
Yep.
So we want to stay high ground here. Here we kind of drop out into the open, so we just end up feeding.
I think I got a bit focused on the Ana and just
Yeah.
Без труда не вытащишь и рыбку из пруда.
Here we can maybe just peek for our own personal bubble. That way we can maintain some energy. We don't have to just sit there the whole time. Just gotta, when you know it's the last, there's a very, I would be assuming here that we're about to lose this fight. So here they kill 1, 2, 3, right? So this is currently a 5v, a 5v3, right? Or 5v2, yeah, 5v3, 5v2. I would be very heavily assuming that we're going to lose this, and the fact that we win this is by some miracle, because I see that we have another 4 minutes left. I would 100% be grabbing in this scenario, and I probably would say that we should be assuming that we're going to lose here, because of the fact that it's a 5v3, and on top of that, they're also still using Soldier, and that just means that in the situation, we're probably just going to want to use grab as a latch-ditch effort, and then we end up dying. And then right as we die, Bastion kills another 2, right? So, especially when we know we're about to die there, it was about to be a 5v2 there, right? That's 100% a lost fight, because we knew we were about to die. So, in that situation, I think Bastion kills everything here, but probably should have looked to grab anyways.
I think I tried, but it was a bit late. I wasn't quite.
So so just make sure that whenever you see you're coming up on your ult then, and you know that you need to use it, just spam the Q button, right? So in this situation, whenever you see that you're like 90, 94 and 98. This is where we're just going Q, 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 right? Spam, 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 right? And then that way it comes out instantaneously. Now Baojin gets 3, and then Arista stalls it out,
This fight is not over here.
and then Soldier stalls it out and gets a pick, and somehow we stall it out. I don't know how.
Barriers on you. Call for air support. Restoring. Ready for battle. Cast this forward. Barriers on you. Go.
Right? We have our ult. We don't have anything to combo it with.
Give me your best shot. I'm under attack.
That was a bit slow there.
Executing flight maneuvers. Go. Finishing them off.
Good block. Very nice bubble.
Огонь по готовности.
Again, got to work a bit on our grabs, as it seems like we're missing quite a few of them. Moira kind of walked into that one. We didn't actually grab anything in particular. So in this situation, make sure we're looking to grab at feet, right? I think most of the time we're kind of overestimating the distance that it grabs people in. So kind of get used, more familiar with that in this fight.
Огонь по готовности.
Okay. Here we can maybe look to get like Symmetra and Moira if we threw it this way further. Besides that, there aren't too many people grouped up, so we could potentially wait a second for them to group up. When we're ulting, keep in mind, we're not ulting with the hopes that we're grouping people up. That's not how Grab works. Grab isn't us grouping people up. It's us keeping people grouped. We want them to group up before we grab. They should all be clumped up in a tiny little ball for even if it's for half a second. Then we grab and they stay that way, right? We're making them stay that way. If they're not grouped up like they are right now, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like their entire team is all split up, right? No, we can't get it. And maybe besides this right here, we can't get more than one person on their own, right?
Yep.
That means that grab isn't going. If we just toss out grab here, that's not going to magically group them together. We need to wait until they're condensed enough to where we can group them up and keep them grouped to it that way, right? It's kind of the same thing with Sigma Flux. Your Flux doesn't group them up. You are using Flux when they are grouped up. Our grab doesn't group them up. We are using grab when they are grouped up, right? That way we can force them to stay together in an even tighter clump, right? We're waiting. You can see the radius there on the graph, right? We're waiting for them to step within that boundaries, right? So that we can pull them even closer and have them stay that way, right? But we can't be grabbing if everyone's split up. So make sure paying attention to where the enemy team is positioned.
Feel the gravity. Get in there.
Alrighty. Probably push for it a little bit here just to maintain energy. Probably if they're like, if they're all the way back here, it's not like they're going to be able to rush you down. So we can push forward a little bit here and just get some energy going. The other thing is that I would be assuming, let's see, I probably would recommend holding over here. Have we talked about no man's land usage at all? Yeah. So, no man's land through this. No man's land through this whole area, right? This is a whole no man's land. And then the bridge is a big no man's land, right? There's no cover anywhere here. At the end of the bridge, that's where the payload has to go. You have a little bit more cover. You have this, you have these, you have this right side here. You have the high ground usage. You can also, from here, you can contest them if they come around this side. And which it looks like they are going to come around this side. Over here, we're standing in front of the no man's land, and then on top of that, we can't contest them if they come around this side, right?
True.
Or contest them while they're in the choke. We could technically contest them like when they're trying to push through bridge, but then I think they kind of have better positioning because we're more out in the open than they are.
Yep.
Barriers on you. Boosting up. I'm under attack.
when we hear that sig flux, hold on to your ult. I think, or let's see our bubble here. Did we use this when he fluxed or before he fluxed?
I think I used it a bit early.
So we
Yeah,
used
yeah.
it. We used it after he fluxed, right? Make sure that you're using this while you're like midair, not when you're on the ground, because otherwise our bubble's going to either break or run out before we hit the ground. Right? We're gonna see that in a second here. It's probably, I would imagine, it's runs out, right, breaks or runs out there. Now we're slamming and getting our half of our HP taken. Right? So we 100% there need our bubble to tank that half HP damage. So we need to make sure we're not using it too early there. On top of that, did we when he ulted, did we have teammate? Okay, now we don't have we actually don't have any teammates who get sucked up with us. But the problem here isn't the fact that we didn't have teammates sucked up with us; it's the fact that we didn't look around to see if we had teammates sucked up with us.
Sure.
Right? We have bubble here, and I don't think we really looked around to see, hey, is there anybody else that I need to bubble? Because potentially here that saves a life, right? So just make sure that you're real quick. You're going. Do a quick 360, go, okay, no one's in there, then you can start shooting at the Sigma.
Yep.
Give me another shot.
Duplicating Winston.
Barriers on me. Go. Bring it.
Okay, it seems like Bubbles are struggling a little bit more so here on the defense. So just make sure that they're getting consistent, as they're pretty inconsistent so far on the defense. Here, just make sure when we're using our personal bubble, this projected is fine. Personal bubble, make sure that we actually have people looking and shooting at us when we're using this, right?
Yep.
First off, we're using this, you know, when nobody's actively looking at us, nobody's actively shooting at us, and therefore this bubble just doesn't do anything. Very good awareness. I think so far our awareness as well has been very high and very good. We haven't struggled too much in knowing whether or not we've won or lost fights. We just heard when Soldier was flanking us there. We just saw Soldier up in the high ground there. So far it looks like awareness is very high. Right click melee. Right when they're 1 HP. That bursts them down and then does not allow for that to happen, right? Her fading away and getting away. So us not right clicking there to burst her down allows for the escape to happen. Focus your bubbles a little bit more on your ball. He's gonna get. It feels like with our bubbles, a lot of the time we're just going for squishy targets. Keep in mind, it's gonna usually benefit ball the most, as it's gonna allow him to go in without the fear of getting slept, rocked, coach gunned, or damaged, right? And then on top of that, that's just gonna get you a lot more energy. Here, it feels like most of our bubbles are going towards like not our ball, when usually it should be the most are going towards our ball, and then once in a while it's going towards someone else if they need it.
Okay.
Okay, their target priority. Unless you hear your entire team just going focus monkey, or like you see that monkey's getting burned down, or you see that you have other people shooting at him, don't look at monkey here because he's a primaling monkey, right? He has 1,000 HP with a nano boost, so that all of that 1,000 HP is getting a damage reduction. So, and we're also at 33 energy, so we are absolutely going to do no damage against that. We're going to tickle him. Instead, what we can be looking at is the soldier who's about to run in at us. We can look at the Moira who's on our right. Right? We can look at these easier targets to kill. And in general, I think we might have talked about. Did we talk about target priority much?
A little bit, yeah. Like, I focus a lot too much on the tanks. I've been trying to fix that a bit.
Yep, and then just make sure you're focusing the easier targets to kill here. because we just spend too much time on the monkey. And then we do look like we swapped to the soldier, but it's just a little bit late in the fight. I think you can just see how much easier that was to kill the soldier than it was to kill the monkey.
Yeah.
Did we die with bubble?
Not sure.
3, 2, 1. Oh no, we didn't. Okay, there's one more second.
Perseverance is the key.
Alright, good game. So why don't we do a wrap up real quick?
Yeah, no worries.
So, essentially, we're just gonna go around the block, see what we were, how things have been going. Bubbles. First off, we'll just start with those. Very, very much better than like in the past, but they're still inconsistent, and there are some things we want to look to improve on them. But for the most part, great improvement, right? We're staying consistent energy, so we're much better off on our bubbles, and we're using bubbles when we know that people are looking at them. Just make sure as well that you're looking to stay consistent with that. As on our defense, it was a little bit lacking with the energy that we were at and how well our bubbles were hitting, but on our attack, I was pretty much perfect. Make sure that you're bubbling your tanks slightly more often than everybody else, right? Tanks are going to be the ones who a lot of the times benefit the most. Your other tanks are going to benefit the most from your bubble, and it's also going to get you the most energy as the most people are shooting at them. And on top of that, they have the biggest hit boxes, so it's also going to mean that you're they're going to be a little bit easier to kind of soak up damage. Okay. Now, as well with your bubbles, make sure that when we're at 80 energy that we're looking to use them exclusively for tanking, and we're not wasting them for energy because we have enough energy. Grabs, we need to work a little bit on our grabs as we, first off, held on to them for a little bit. Second off, we also just missed a couple of them, and we didn't really get any value with them. So make sure with your ultimates, you're looking to use that. First off, don't hold on to them. Second off, look to use them at the start of fights, because when you use them at the start of fights, they get more value than if you use them mid-fight. Second off, you're looking to grab in between people, right? And when they're kind of clumped up, right? So we're looking to use it at the ground. It's going to go pretty much to where your crosshair's looking. At a range, you're going to have to get, it's an arc, so you're going to have to look up a little bit more. But most of the time, you're not going to want to launch it at a range anyways. Or you want to launch it when it's a bit closer to you. So just make sure you're staring at the ground in between their feet, where you want it to go. Because our placement does need a lot of work with it. And that's a really big, powerful ultimate that you want to make sure that you're actually hitting. Wait till they're all grouped up. Don't expect your ult to just magically group them together. You want to make sure that they're at least close enough for it to get value, right? For them to be grouped up in it. Mechanically, I think we're decent. Not too much of an issue. I don't think that that's in any case our #1 issue. With our tracking or anything like that. Make sure that you're not reloading when if you're in the middle shooting at someone and you still have ammo left, don't just cancel your shooting to reload. Just keep shooting until you get a lull in the fight. And then now if we can't shoot at anybody, just reload so that you have ammo for when the fight starts. Now, on top of that, make sure that when you're walking back from spawn, you're doing a jump, right click so that you can get some faster mobility, and then once you're about to approach, you can stop it so that you can let that recharge, as you'll get it back before get all your HP back before the fight actually starts. Let's see, what else are we working with? Right click melee to finish off targets, as we can burst them down and kill them. So when they're low, and we can even do it when they're higher than that, because when we have higher energy, we'll do more damage with our right click. But we can right click melee and kill them pretty fast and burst down their last bit of HP. So when they're higher, we can do it when they're like around half HP sometimes. Make sure you're aiming at the floor when you're doing this, right? You're aiming at their feet, so that even if we're looking at their feet, right, at their body, but if it goes past them, it's just going past them to where it's still hitting them, right? So because it's just hitting the floor anyways, right? But we can still hit them from here because we hit them directly. Now, awareness, I think your awareness is pretty high. I don't think there was too much of a problem with awareness, so really good on that end as well. Want to work on our positioning. Positioning was pretty poor. We ended up dying a lot of the time from positioning. I'd probably say that was one of the bigger areas that we need to work on. So 2 things with positioning. First off, make sure you're staying next to cover, using objects to keep yourself alive. Don't run out into the open, as we did that multiple times and died as a result. On top of that, make sure you're staying within range of your shooting and you're looking to prioritize damage and doing damage because it feels like kind of with our playstyle, we're just a little passive in the fact that we're just not with our positioning per se that we're just never within range, but even when we are within range that we're just not really shooting at much, right? We have high energy, we have the energy, but we're just not putting ourselves in positions where we can shoot at things and we're not really doing enough damage that we should be.
Yep.
Target priority, make sure focusing supports and DPS, not tanks when you have the equal opportunity or when you have the opportunity to just bypass tanks. And positioning is, well, there's one more thing in positioning. I remember. No Man's Land, just make sure, again, you're respecting No Man's Land, that you're not holding in front of it. Same thing as choke points. Side set, I think those are the main things. So let's go over kind of the order that you should probably be, like, of importance and in order of importance and order of what you need to work on the most. Probably say positioning is your number one thing, and both for survivability as well as your ability to actually do damage. Probably say that your ultimate usage is going to be your number two, as we got very inconsistent ultimates. They charged pretty slowly just because we weren't doing much damage. We held on to them, and then we just didn't hit anything with them. And Grab is a very, very powerful ultimate. So make sure you're looking to get a lot of value out of it, because when we're not getting value out of it, we're like, that's a ton of fights that we could have potentially won, right? Like, let's say we got a perfect Grab in all those, in 3 fights that we got Grab. That's an extra 2-3 fights that we've won on our own, right? Just off of a big ultimate. Because, so make sure you're looking to get a lot more consistent with that. Number 3, even though you're doing a lot better, I'd probably still say that's going to be your bubble usage, as it is still a bit inconsistent. So you want to still work on your bubbles to get them more consistent, but I believe that's a big step forward, because in the past that might have been like even your number one thing to work on. So
yeah,
really, really good on that end. Just looking to get it more consistent. And then that is pretty much it. The mechanics and awareness are looking pretty solid.
Cool.
Ready?
Cool.
Do you have any questions about anything that we've gone over?
No, that's all really good. Thanks, man. I've got a few things to work with until next time, so yeah, should be good.
Alrighty. Well, I'm